shalom, Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Welcome to the Yahweh and Yahshua Speak television show. We are in what's called Black History Month by the world, but Yahweh has renamed it at Yahweh and Yahshua's temple as Hebrew History Month. And let's start out in Jeremiah, the 2nd chapter, Jeremiah or Yirmiyah. So the world talks about Ancestry.com and 23andMe to get background information on where they came from. The background information on those of us whose forefathers came to the Western Hemisphere as slaves is in the Bible.
Yes, y'all right.
That's what we're going to look at it right now. So if your forefathers, going to Jeremiah the 2nd chapter, if your forefathers were brought to the Western Hemisphere in slave ships, they are part of the black nation of Israel.
Y'all right.
It tells us here in Jeremiah and a bunch of places in the Bible, but this is your history book right here, Jeremiah 2, and let's read verse 14, please.
Yahweh.
Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled?
So yes, Israel was a servant. He was a homeborn slave. He was part of the transatlantic slave trade. And he is still going through changes until he comes to his history book.
Yes.
Start reading his history book and finding out who he is.
Yes, only y'all can tell us.
So within the nation of Israel are men that are called the sons of thunder.
Hallelujah.
And that thunder is Yahweh's fiery spiritual persona.
Yes.
And it comes from his anointing.
Hallelujah.
Let's go to Genesis, the 2nd chapter. So Yahweh had that anointing in the first family that he created in the earth.
Yeah.
And the family that Yahweh created, he created a family unit. And that family, Genesis 2, was to be the place where we were always celebrated and valued. That family was to be the place where we learned what our role was in society.
Yes.
Where we learned who Yahweh was and why we were on the earth. Go to Genesis 2, let's read verses 24 and 25. So this is what Yahweh says a family is. Genesis 22, 24, 25.
Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both marked naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed.
All right, so here is the family right here. People think you have to have the man, the woman, and children, but the family is the husband and the wife. It said, therefore shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, or Iyshshah, and they shall be one flesh. It says, the man and his wife were both naked, and they were not ashamed. Let's go to Proverbs, the 1st chapter. So Yahweh ordained a family to be composed of a married husband and wife.
Tell it like it is.
Family unit of husband and wife is the foundation that Yahweh set up for all of us to originate from.
Hallelujah.
Proverbs 1. And you see in the world today that the devil has messed that up. Totally.
I know, right?
You have them teaching children from, I believe it's starting in elementary school. They got this thing, the sodomites talking about Heather has 2 mommies. And they got another one for the men. And I forget what the name of it is, Daddy's Friend or something like that. But they're starting them in grammar school, trying to corrupt them. It's the devil. It's not the world, it's the devil influencing the world. But Yahweh said the family unit is a married husband and wife.
Hallelujah.
All right, Proverbs 1, and let's read verse 8, please.
Hallelujah.
That's where we were always supposed to originate from, a married husband and wife. Proverbs 1 and 8.
My son, hear the instructions of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother.
All right, so the title of this lesson is Coming to America to Mental Slavery. stealing the sons of thunder's thunder. And what the devil did was attack this family unit that Yahweh set up of a married husband and wife. And we see here why. Because the two of them together, it says, my bond or son, Shemar, or hear the Musar, the instruction of thy Abba, your father, that husband, married husband, and forsake not the Torah or law of thy your mother. So the father's got the instruction, the mother has the law. And we had an illustration of that happened at the temple, where the men of Yahweh are stepping into their roles, and the man said, let's do this. And then I stepped up and I said, all right, when do you want it done? They said, now.
Praise Yahweh.
The instruction of the father, the law of the mother. So they're together.
Yep.
What's confusing to children, and the way Yahweh did not set it up, is when the woman steps out of her role.
Right.
And she tries to order the family in a way that Yahweh said that the man has the role to order the family. What's confusing and out of order and devilish is when the man says, in righteousness, step up and handle it. And then the woman comes and says, well, you know what, we should do this and this and this. So the devil attacked the family unit in Garden of Eden by coming to the woman. You see in Proverbs, the 1st chapter, hear the instruction of your father, forsake not the law of your mother.
Right.
Let's go to 2 Corinthians, the 11th chapter. The woman, being deceived, played the devil's big mama figure.
Right.
She stepped out of her role as helpmeet. That's what the woman's role is, helpmeet.
Yes.
And helpmeet does not mean that the woman is stupid. Help means that Yahweh has a certain order to get things done more efficiently and in a righteous manner. For the two of them to work together. Whether they're married or not. It's the same way in the temple.
That's right.
Brothers and sisters.
That's it.
All right. So Yahweh wants us to understand how how he set this thing to work. So the woman was deceived. She played the devil's big mama figure. She stepped out of her role as helpmeet.
Right.
And she set herself up to tell the man what to do. 2 Corinthians 11. And we know how that ended up. It ended up in death coming on the whole world. 2 Corinthians 11, let's read verse 3.
Hallelujah.
But I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your minds should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Messiah.
All right. So here is another. Now being in the New Testament, he's talking about as a serpent tricked Kawa or Eve, the first woman, through his craftiness. So women are more prone to deception. Men are more prone to rebellion. The two of them together, with the man explaining and teaching the woman and showing her how to discern, then she gets to the point where she's sharper.
Yeah.
And with her working with the man, his rebelliousness tones down. And so they both come out just like Yahshua, working together.
That's it.
Staying in the role Yahweh put him in.
That's it.
Go to 1 Timothy, the 2nd chapter. So in the garden, the first man, now the woman played big mama, stepped out of her role as helpmeet. In the garden, the first man played the devil's punk figure and stepped out of his role as the supervisory head of the family unit. 1 Timothy 2. He stepped out of his role as a supervisory head of the family unit.
That's like it is, bro.
1 Timothy 2. And let's read one verse 14.
Hallelujah.
And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression.
All right? So it was worse to be deceived, but it was worse for the man not to be deceived and to make the choice to follow the woman when she was in deception. It says Adam was not deceived. He made this choice for some other reason.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he became a traitor against Yahweh. He rebelled against Yahweh. But the woman was deceived. She was all in the middle of everything.
Okay.
But they could have cut it off right then and there if the
Yep,
man
yep.
had stayed in his role.
Uh-huh.
All right, so the two decisions in the Garden of Eden caused men to fall from being what Yahweh ordained them to be on the earth.
Yes.
That is the sons of thunder.
That right?
So they became slaves of sin.
Okay.
They started thinking like slaves. The woman became Big Mama, like the devil's pagan religions.
Uh-huh.
And we had talked about it in show 1, how the devil has these pagan goddesses and they have all these many breastises.
Uh-huh.
All right? So the Big Mama figure is akin to that, whether it's physical or spiritual,
Right,
where
yeah,
she's got
right,
all
right.
these breastises for
Right.
people to come and suck up on
Right.
her and act like she's the mother figure for everybody. All right? The first man cooperated with the first woman being Big Mama, so he let her punk him out.
Right, right?
So what is a punk? Well, Europeans don't know. All right? This is what they say in the Urban Dictionary. This is what a punk is, they say. Punk is not about a certain hair color, style, or music. Although music does take a large part in most punks' lives. Punk is about liking what you are, being yourself, saying what you think, and F all the rest. You don't need a 2-foot-high red mohawk to be a punk, although that is wicked cool. A descendant of slaves, Europeans don't know, but a descendant of slaves should know what a punk is.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's what the devil did to the black man through the slave master.
Right, right.
So what does it mean? He used the black woman and trained her how to punk black men out.
Right, right.
What does it mean to punk a man out? Punking of a man out happens when the woman steps into the role of the head of the family.
Right, right.
Just like in Genesis.
Uh-huh.
Taking care of the man like he is one of her children.
I know, right?
The profitability of slavery hinged on the woman becoming the devil's Big Mama figure.
Yeah, yeah.
The slave master treated the black woman like a female horse. And now I'm quoting from Willie Lynch's Let's Make a Slave.
Okay.
This is what this Caribbean slave master trained the other slave masters to do. He came over here to America to do it. And Yahweh quickened me. The slavery here in the Americas, even though Willie Lynch was a Caribbean slave master, it took on a deeper wounding, a deeper twisting.
Yep.
Because the priesthood is over here in America.
Hallelujah.
So the devil really put the screws to the slaves that were here in America. Now this is what Willie Lynch said, treating the black woman like a female horse. Train the female horse whereby she will eat out of your hand. And she will in turn train the infant horse to eat out of your hand also. When it comes to breaking the uncivilized nigger, use the same process, but vary the degree and step up the pressure so as to do a complete reversal of the mind.
Yep.
Take the meanest and most restless nigger, strip him of his clothes in front of the remaining male niggers, the female and the nigger infant. Tar and feather him. Tie each leg to a different horse faced in opposite directions. Set him afire and beat both horses to pull him apart in front of the remaining niggers. The next step is to take a bullwhip and beat the remaining nigger males to the point of death in front of the female and the infant. Don't kill him, but put the fear of God in him, for he can be useful for future breeding. Now this actually happened, and as I
Yep.
was studying this out,
Yep.
that's why I watched Roots, the first one time, and I couldn't watch it anymore. And I didn't watch the updated one. I don't want to see that, because I understand that was truth. That actually happened
Yep. Yep.
to our forefathers. So the slave master killed some of the black men of Israel by tarring, feathering, setting them on fire, and pulling them apart on horses. Others he almost beat to death while forcing the black woman and little boys to watch.
Right.
The black woman was terrorized into adopting the satanic role of Big Mama, head of the family. So we're not blaming her.
Nope.
But what Yahweh is doing is saying, sisters, open your eyes. Brothers, open your eyes.
Hallelujah.
And stop doing that.
Yeah.
Stop thinking like the devil. Stop acting like the devil.
Praise
Not in
mighty
slavery
God.
anymore. Go to
Right.
Deuteronomy 28. Those days are over.
Hallelujah.
Praise the mighty Yah for it. Deuteronomy 28. But she was terrorized
Right.
into adopting the satanic role of Big Mama, head of the slave family. Deuteronomy 28.
Yeah, it took one's done that way. Praise.
Deuteronomy 28, Deuteronomy 28, and let's read verses 65 to 66, please. Deuteronomy 28, 65 to 66.
Hallelujah.
And among these nations shalt thou find no erase, ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart and falling of eyes, failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life.
So Deuteronomy 28 chapter talks about the slavery that our forefathers went through
Yep, yep.
in America and over in the Caribbean, but especially in America.
Right.
It says, among these nations shall you find no ease,
Nope.
neither shall the sole of your foot have rest. But Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. And your life shall hang in doubt before thee. Why? The slave master had their life in his hand.
Right.
And thou shalt fear day and night and have none assurance of your life. They didn't even know if they were going to make it to the next day.
Right.
So the black woman was deeply wounded from the slave master, showing the black man was powerless
Right.
to the family unit in slavery. And I've got a quote from, it says, plantation slave cabins, South Carolina low country. And this is where me and my sister's family came as slaves and grew up as slaves, our forefathers. This is plantation slave captain, South Carolina low country. It says, a metal collar was put on a slave to remind him of his wrongdoing. Such collars were thick and heavy. They often had protruding spikes which made field work difficult and prevented the slave from sleeping when lying down. Lewis Kane, a former slave, described seeing another slave punished. He quotes, one nigger run to the woods to be a jungle nigger, but massa coxed him with the dog and took a hot iron and brands him. Then he put a bell on him in a wooden frame what slipped over the shoulders and under the arms. He made that nigger wear the bell a year and took it off on Christmas for a present to him. It sure did make a good nigger out of him, unquote. It goes on to say, slaves were punished for a number of reasons. Working too slowly, breaking the law, for example, running away, leaving the plantation without permission, insubordination, impudence, as defined by the owner or overseer, or for no reason, to underscore a threat or to assert the owner's dominance and masculinity. Myers and Massey describe the practices. They say, quote, The punishment of devious slaves was decentralized based on plantations and crafted so as not to impede the value of laborers, unquote. Whites punished slaves publicly to set an example. A man named Harding describes an incident in which a woman assisted several men in a minor rebellion. The woman he hoisted up by the thumbs, whipped and slashed her with knives before the other slaves till she died. Let's go to Jeremiah 50. So there was a minister on TV talking about slavery today, and they had a couple of, he was a white minister, they had a couple of white men on there, and they were talking about, yeah, well, you know, everybody didn't have slaves, and yeah, Washington voted to be against slavery, but after that, then they reinstated it, and they continued to have slaves, and so, you know, everybody wanted to get a slave. The fact is, it happened.
Right.
So why go and remember something 350 years ago? If it had happened to your forefathers, you would be remembered, because you have to go back in order to come forward.
That's it. You got right, Rod. Tell like it is. So
This is the truth. This is who we are.
Hallelujah.
And this is what has made us, and then that's why Yahweh put it in the Bible.
Yes.
So we can learn from it.
Hallelujah.
Jeremiah 50. So the slave master mentally raped their slaves. Mentally.
Yep.
And justified it by saying they deserved it. Jeremiah 50. Let's read verses 6 to 7.
Hallelujah.
My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. All that found them have devoured them, and their adversaries said, we offended not because they have sinned against Yahweh, the habitation of justice, even Yahshua, their hope of their father.
All right, so here's the slave master. So Yahweh said his people have been lost sheep.
Right.
Their shepherds caused them to go astray. So the people that were standing up in the land of Israel, that was supposed to be telling people about what Yahweh said, and supposed to be keeping Yahweh's laws, statutes, and commandments, they went backward. They didn't do that.
Right.
So that's why when we come to the truth now, we have learned from them. We're not going to back up off of what Yahweh is telling us to do.
Nope.
And we're going to do exactly what Yahweh is telling us to do.
That's right.
Because our forefathers went through this horrible, horrible punishment.
Yes.
Because they didn't stand up and do what Yahweh told them to do.
Right.
But here now, it says they've gone from mountain to hill. They've forgotten their resting place. They've forgotten that they're the children of Israel.
Right.
They've forgotten that they're the sons of thunder and not just the sons of slaves. It says, and those that found them devoured them. Their adversaries said, hey, we don't offend, because they sinned against Yahweh. Even Yahweh, the hope of their fathers. So they turned their back on Yahweh. So whatever we do to them, hey, they deserved it. But they didn't. So people talk about slavery's division of house niggas and field niggas.
Okay.
And then house niggas had it better than field niggas. And so they like to say, because I'm light-skinned, and my sister's light-skinned, and they like to say, yeah, you know, they didn't have to go out in the sun, in the field, and so they had it better. Or you got some Hebrews trying to say, well, see, because Shelomah is not a certain color, then she's not really true Israel. I had this article here. AtlantaBlackStar.com. 10 horrifying facts about the sexual exploitation of enslaved black women you may not know, by Taylor Gordon, November 5th, 2014. Slave masters claimed they were doing black women a favor. Enslaved women were forced to have sex with their owners. but their masters considered this a favor. White men claimed they were doing black women a favor by saving them from having sex with black men who were considered to be animalistic and brutal. Now you have the reverse going on, where you have black women and black men still thinking it's animalistic to have sex or to marry a black woman or a black man. Therefore, they're marrying everybody else but them. This is where it comes from. That's thinking like a slave. Enslaved women, known as quote-unquote mammies, did more than cook and clean.
Yeah, they did.
Many people know that enslaved women, known as mammies, worked in their masters' homes rather than out in the fields. But this certainly did not make life any easier for the women. So Yahweh wants us to understand now what the black woman and the black man went through in slavery. Because the devil has a stronghold in this area in the way people think. And Yahweh came to free us from that stronghold and let us see it.
Praise
He did.
He said they were sometimes expected to be incredibly affectionate and intimate with their owners, more so than other enslaved individuals. If they ever resisted any advance, they might be subjected to harsh punishments such as beating or rape. So-called mammies were usually dressed to be representative of their master's wealth. Enslaved women, who were called Jezebels, were often raped and then accused of being promiscuous. A certain group of enslaved women were deemed Jezebels by their owners. These women were assumed to be even more promiscuous than the other enslaved black women and were often subjected to sexual abuse multiple times throughout the day. While white men forced these Jezebels to have sex with them, they insisted that it was the enslaved woman's fault for being so promiscuous. Slave masters took no responsibility for the babies they fathered through rape. So we're talking about house niggas, right? Because you got this myth going around about how the house niggas had it better than field niggas. Many of the enslaved women would become pregnant after being raped by their owners. These women were often forced to carry out the pregnancy, although the owner would normally refuse to be a father to the child. They would enslave these children or sell them to other slave masters. The biracial children were also more likely to be subjected to abuse by mistresses, who often saw the mixed children as a reminder of their husband's infidelity. The slave masters' wives would beat enslaved women for being raped by their husbands. In addition, the mixed children being subjected to abuse by disgruntled wives, the enslaved women were sometimes also punished. The first lady of the plantation would blame the enslaved women for tempting their husbands and seducing them. This was especially true for many black women labeled Jezebels. Enslaved black males were regularly forced to impregnate enslaved black women to impregnate them. That's what's going on now with all these baby mama and baby daddy. They just acting out like they're still on the plantation. Not marrying, just having babies by all these different daddies and different. It's just Willie Lynch played out. He said the plan that he did would perpetuate in their thinking for at least 300 years. That's what's going on right now. Enslaved black males were regularly forced to impregnate enslaved black women to impregnate them. White slave owners were not the only men enslaved black women were forced to have sex with. Masters often paired enslaved women up with athletic enslaved men in hopes they could create more healthy, strong servants to work in the fields. That's what they're doing out here now. Without the master telling them. It's the devil talking to their mind. The sexual exploitation of black women in mainstream media has its roots in slavery. And she said you can look at people like Nicki Minaj and Lil Kim.
I know,
They're making them Jezebel stereotypes, not that they are, but they're putting them up there like Jezebel stereotypes. These over-sexualized perceptions of black women are embraced and perpetuated throughout mainstream media today.
Yep.
All right, let's go to 2 Thessalonians.
All right,
the third chapter. 2 Thessalonians, the 3rd chapter. So the black woman was psyched out to man up and muscularize herself and her daughters under the threat of death. That's what the slave master did.
Yeah.
And she was psyched out to treat little boys and the black man as her children. 2 Thessalonians 3. And if you are a descendant of a former slave, you got to look at yourself.
Right.
Check yourself and make sure. Get rid of those
Get that
tendencies.
slave mentality out of your mind.
2 Thessalonians 3, because it's buried real deep.
Yes, it is.
Only Yahweh can get in there and show it to you so he can take it out of you. Let's read verses 9 to 11. 2 Thessalonians 3, verses 9 to 11.
Praise Yahweh.
Not because we have not power, but to make ourselves an example unto you to follow us. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat. For we hear that there are some people which walk among you, disorderly, working not at all, but are busybodies.
All right, now. The woman was psyched out to man up, muscularize herself and her daughters, and to treat little boys and the man as her children. Here in this scripture, it's talking about some of these people right here. It says, to make yourself an example, you won't be the one that, if you're not working, then you can't have anything to eat. But there's a whole lot of people not working, and you got people in the role of providing for these people. They're 20 years and over. I'm not talking about a child 20 years and under.
Right.
All right? But he said that, hey, even when we were with you, this we commanded you that if any would not work, neither should he eat. For we hear that there's walk among you disorderly, working not at all,
Yep.
but busybody.
Yep.
So black men were trained to be like Peter Pan. You're always gonna fly away just because you know you can. You're never gonna learn. There's no such place as Neverland. Now, who had a place called Neverland?
Michael Jackson.
Shemite, right? Former descendant of a former slave. Peter Pan, you don't understand. You'll never grow up. You're never gonna be a man. Yeah, you'll never grow up. And you're never gonna be a man, Peter Pan. Never gonna be a man. This is what the slave master, tarring and feathering the black man, again, the devil deliberately used them to work on our forefathers' minds.
Yes.
Go to Joel, the 3rd chapter. Joel, the 3rd chapter.
Praise the mighty Yah for revelation knowledge.
Joel 3 and verse 3.
Hallelujah.
You said Joel, right?
Joel. Yeah, 3 and 3.
And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for one, that they might drink.
All right, so the slaves were the property of the slave masters, and they did with them whatever they wanted. I have a bill from the Atlantic Slave Trade article, and it's a reproduction of a handbill advertising a slave auction, again in our home state, me and my sister, Charleston, South Carolina, in 1769. And it says, to be sold on Thursday, the 3rd day on account next a cargo of 24 prime healthy Negroes, consisting of 39 men, 15 boys, 24 women, and 16 girls just arrived. And I have another, backthen.com. For sale, African men and women exhibited like farm animals. This is posted by J. Jones, February 1, 2020. Once Africans were captured to be sent into slavery, they had no control over their bodies. Slaves belonged to their masters. We just read in Joel now. So Yahweh wants to give you the details.
Right.
The truth. Slaves belonged to their masters, and the masters could do whatever they wanted to their property. Before being sold off to a plantation, slaves were put on the auction block to be inspected like animals.
Yeah.
Men and women were displayed completely naked. Their genitals and breasts were handled and fondled.
Right.
Their bodies assaulted and poked by multiple people before they were sold.
Wow.
Southern dealers and plantation owners defended their practices. They claimed Africans had no feelings, and they lacked any capability of showing affection.
Wow.
Many also believed that black people did not mind being bought and sold, since they were naturally promiscuous and lacked the ability to achieve a stable family life on their own. Slaves were often divided into classes such as, number 1, men, 19 to 25 years old. Fair, ordinary men. Best boys, 15 to 18 years old. Best boys, 10 to 14 years old. Number 1, women. Fair, ordinary women. Best girls, 10 to 15 years old. Women with 1 or 2 children. Let's go to 1 Peter. This man said it's tight, but it's right.
Yeah.
This is reality. This is Hebrew History Month.
Yes.
And praise Yahweh that He woke us up so we can
Hallelujah.
actually see
Yes, thank you, Father.
exactly how to get up out of
Hallelujah.
that. 1 Peter, the 3rd chapter.
Praise mighty God.
And let's read verses, start at verse 5, but let me just say this. Slave master forced the black woman to act as the head of the family. He put the black girl child second, the black man child third, and the black man last. 1 Peter 3, let's read verses 5 to 8, please.
Hallelujah.
For after this manner, in the old time, the holy woman also who trusted in Elohim adorned themselves, being in the subjection unto their own husbands, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him master, whose daughters ye are, as long ye do well, and are not afraid with any amazement.
All right, so now we're seeing here a black woman responding to a son of thunder,
Yeah.
and in her role as help me.
Right.
It says, for after this manner in the old time, this is how our forefathers used to do it.
Right.
Before the slave master, the devil using the slave master came in and started training our forefathers to think like slaves, and then they passed that down on to us unknowingly.
Right.
For after this manner in the old time, Kadash, Iyshshah, holy women who batak or trusted in Elohim, adorn themselves being in subjection unto their own husbands. So Yahweh has a family unit, and He's got an order And so we have to get in here and understand what this subjection is talking about unto their own husbands. But there's also a subjection between brothers and sisters.
That's right. That's right.
And Yahweh shows us wisdom about how to use that properly.
Hallelujah.
Because we don't want to abuse that either. We want each person, the brother and the sister, to understand how this relationship.
Yes, praise the mighty Yah.
Yahweh ordained it and is holy and is right.
Yep.
It says, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, Kara, or calling him master, whose bath of daughters you are. Talking about the sisters of Israel.
Right.
As long as you do well and are not afraid with any amazement, where you don't take this out of proportion.
Right.
Don't get mixed up with the Greeks and Romans thinking how you're supposed to relate to a brother. All right? And it comes with understanding who you are. All right? She called her husband master.
Yes.
Master in the sense that she knew that he was over her and she was
Right.
his helpmate.
That's it. You're right, Ron. Tell like it is.
Verse 7 to 8.
Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them accordingly to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife, as unto the weaker vessel, the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. Finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another, love, as breathing, be pitiful, be courteous.
All right. Likewise, you Iyshshah, talking to the men now.
Right.
Whether you're married or not, it's talking to the men.
Yep.
Dwell with them according to yada or knowledge, giving kabod or honor unto Iyshshah or the woman, as unto the weaker vessel. What the slave master said was, no, the man is the weaker vessel.
Right.
That's a lie from the pit of the lake of fire.
Hallelujah.
The woman is the weaker vessel. That's why you see the world is turned upside down.
Yep.
That's why you see these women so stressed and so just, they were never intended to be the head of the family.
Right. Y'all right. Tell
And
like it
in
is.
their mind, they don't know they were never intended to be the head of the family.
That's right.
They are the weaker vessel, and you got to understand what that weaker vessel is. That means Yahweh put us in certain categories and in certain roles, and that's the role that we're in. Don't get hung up in this world's definition, again, with Romans and the Greeks trying to define what this weaker vessel is. Yahweh will tell us, and He is telling us from Scripture what a weaker vessel
Yes.
is. All right? Because when Yahweh said, as a sister, you're a helpmeet, that means when the man, Yahweh's telling them something and he needs help doing it, well, you have to be able to do as well as the man, not lifting things, all right, but as well as and with the expertise as the man to help him get the job done.
Hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah.
But you are the weaker vessel. Don't get up there trying to pretend like you're the stronger vessel. You're not.
Like it is, Rob.
Get in here and look and go to the Greek and go to the Hebrew and find out what that weaker vessel is talking about.
Right.
But there are certain things we were never intended to be, and that is the head of the family.
Thus says Yahweh.
A lot of us got put in that position by default.
Right.
But now Yahweh is saying, now this is how you do it. All right? And then it says, finally, be of one mind. That's what we're coming to now, one mind. Yahweh and Yahshua's mind. Have compassion one of another. Love as brothers and sisters. Be pitiful, be courteous. All right, go to Deuteronomy 28 again. So contrary to the divine assignment, the black woman slave was terrorized into being Big Mama. She became the man in the family, its protector and provider. And now Yahweh is saying, my daughter, step down.
Right.
Open your eyes. You no longer have to do that.
Right. Things done decently in order.
Thank you, Yahweh.
Praise God.
Deuteronomy 28, and let's start at verse 28.
Hallelujah.
So this is what happened now when the roles got reversed and the woman got terrorized into being the head of the family.
Right.
This is what slavery was like. And this is what some people are still living like.
Yep.
Deuteronomy 28 and 28.
Hallelujah.
Yahweh shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart.
Just turned upside down.
Right.
Nothing makes sense. You got madness and blindness and astonishment of mind. And there are people that are studying what the slave master did to the black woman. And I've got, we may get to it tonight, I've got some excerpts from it. Some people over in Germany, they did a big study about what the slave master did to the black woman and the type of positions he made her play. The strong black woman and Jezebel and Mammy. And then they did this theory, this, what do you call it when you do get your PhD? You write this big paper or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, but they're studying what the slave master did to the black woman in slavery. All right, but it resulted in madness, blindness, and astonishment of heart. Let's read verse 29.
And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind grope in darkness. And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
30.
Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt print a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof.
So even when the house niggas, the women were working in the house, the master could rape them.
Right.
Well, at the end of the day, they could go home and they could have a husband, and the master could still come in and rape them. This is what Yahweh is saying.
Right.
You'll marry a wife, and another man shall lie with her.
Right.
Or the slave master could say, okay, well, you married, but I want John to have a baby by you too, so you can have more babies. All right? Let's read verse 31 to 33, please.
Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine donkey shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. That thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and fall.
Fail.
Fail with longing for them all the day, and thee shall be no might in thy hand. Thy fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed all away.
This is talking about the slavery that our forefathers went through. It said, your sons and daughters shall be given unto another people.
Right.
So whatever the slave master decided to do, your daughter was 5 years old or your son was 13 years old, if he wanted to sell them to another plantation, there was nothing that our forefathers could do.
Right.
Your eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in your hand. There was nothing they could do to stop it.
Right.
So the Bible gives classic examples of Big Mama and the punk acting like her son. Let's go to 1 Kings, the 21st chapter. So it gives classic examples. So the devil started it in the Garden of Eden.
Yep, yep.
And so throughout the Bible, you can see when the men of Israel did not stand up and be the sons of thunder,
Right.
you see them bow down to the devil's big mama and act like a punk. First Kings 21, and let's start at, let's read verses 4 to 7. First Kings 21,
Hallelujah.
verses 4 to 7.
And Ahab came unto his house heavy and displeased because of the word which Nobat the Jezreelite had spoken to him, for he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed and turned away his face and would eat no bread.
Now you can read above this, but here's this black king Ahab in the land of Israel, and he decided he wanted this man's family's land.
Yeah.
And he went and asked the man and offered him money, and the man said, no, I don't want to sell my family's land. Then he comes back to the palace, and then he gonna lay down and not eat and start pouting.
Right.
All right? Like a child. Verse
Right.
5.
But Jezebel his wife came to him and said unto him, Why is thy spirit so sad, that thou eatest no bread? And he said unto her, Because I spake unto
Neighbor,
the
Jezreelite,
and said unto him, Give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard. And Jezebel his wife said unto him, Thou now govern the kingdom at Israel. Arise and eat bread, and let thine heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Noah and Jezreel.
the Jezreelite. All right, so here's Jezebel, and saw him sulking and wouldn't eat. And then Ahab told her, and then she gonna step in like she's his mama. She said, Jezebel, his wife said, hey, are you the king of Israel or not? Arise and eat bread, let your heart be merry. I'll give you the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. So King Ahab knew if he sulked like a punk, his big mama wife would step in and handle it for him. That's what big mamas do.
Right.
So big mama went to work and did what she does best, take over.
Right.
Skip down to verse 8.
Hallelujah.
So she wrote letters in Ahab's name, and sealed them with his seal, and sent the letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in his city, dwelling with Naboth.
Okay. Here she's writing the letters, big mama,
Right.
sealing them with the man's seal,
Right.
and sending letters to the elders, to all the men. Again, the devil's behind this big mama figure, whether it's physical or spiritual.
Yep.
All right, verse 9.
And she wrote in the letters, saying, Proclaim a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people.
Keep going.
And set 2 men, sons of Belial, before him, to bear witness against him, saying, Thou didst blaspheme Elohim and the kings, and then carry him out and stoned him that he may die. And the men of his city, even the elders and the nobles, who were the inhabitants in his city, did as Jezebel had sent unto them, and as it was written in the letters which she had sent unto them.
All right, so Jezebel came up with this plan and set this black man up, neighbor,
Yep.
and then told some lies, and then it ended up, they took him out and they stoned him to death.
Right.
All right, let's continue. So King Ahab rejected Yahweh's role as head of the family unit.
Right.
He married a stranger, which Yahweh said don't do,
That's right.
and responded to his wife like he was her son.
You're right.
All right, verses 14 to 16.
Then they sent to Jezebel, saying, Naboth is stoned and is dead. And it came to pass, when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth, the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money, for Naboth is not alive, but dead. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth, the Jezreelite, to take possession of it.
All right, so you see the relationship,
Right.
Big Mama and the man acting like her son.
Right.